Wow, there can be no policies, no Trump policies without Trump. And
Yes.
trust me,
Yes.
Lindsey Graham knows him. Yeah.
Yeah, we need Russia to fear us again. Okay, hey Malcolm, I think of
Hmm.
you every day since this, not just the McGonagall, story broke, but all of it. Everybody's talking about Will Bunch's piece in the Philadelphia Inquirer. The New York Times should tell readers whether it helped crooked FBI agents get Trump elected in 2016. The arrest of a high-level FBI agent on Russia-tied corruption charges raises stunning new questions about how Trump really won in 2016. Here's another idea. You could read Plot to Hack America, which came out 6 weeks before the 2016
Yeah.
election. Good morning, Malcolm. Do you have any thoughts?
I've been having these awful thoughts for about 5 years now. This is absolutely amazing. Somebody asked me on Twitter, they say, "Do you feel vindicated?" And I said, "Well, I never predicted that individual had done what he did. But I did say there is a black hole, all right, in the New York field office, apparently where people are cooperating. And those black holes actually came to be proven to be Paul Manafort and this guy, right? McGon. I mean, just absolutely, utterly amazing. This is what we do in the intelligence community. We take those little spots of facts and we look for where there are no facts, but where there must be a fact. And people have been saying this for years. The New York field office was dirty. They were working with Manafort, Trump, Stone, and all the rest, and Rudy Giuliani, who kept transmitting the punch and saying, I speak to people in the New York field office. Now we know at least who one of them were.
Yeah, yeah. Well, somebody asked you on Twitter where to start which book first, and you said start with Plot to Hack America. It's like the Mueller report, only 3 years early and easier to understand. Then definitely Plot to Destroy Democracy. I think it's my best work. It all came true. I don't even know, the Durham, what we found out about Durham and Barr, that there's no there in terms of this investigation into the origins of the Russia investigation, but they found more crimes committed by Trump, which appear to have been covered up by Durham.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the story is that they went to Italy
Right.
for that crazy story, which is in Plot to Destroy Democracy, where they got it into their heads somehow from some QAnon conspiracy theory that the Italians had some server that, they had hacked and were changing the election results in Italy. And Bill Barr, at the urging of Donald Trump, his chief of staff, actually went there with this guy, went there with Durham to investigate this crazy, crazy assumption. And the Italians were like, we don't know what you're talking about. But here are some crimes we have identified that are associated with your president. Actual crimes and evidence. Of course, they covered it up. This is something virtually everyone in the liberal blogosphere was saying, that this White House's attorney general worked in the interest of Donald Trump, was covering up crimes. The only question I have now is, can he be held criminally liable for this? Because, as we learned with Rudy Giuliani, you waive your right to be a lawyer and have any privilege when you're committing crimes.
Yeah, thank you. In the commission of a crime is an entirely, I think, different area. I don't think that question. I mean,
get me Glenn Kirshner.
Why I think we will tune in Friday.
Yeah.
But Malcolm, it's sort of honestly, we played clips of Jim Jordan on the Sunday shows and it reminds me of everything you wrote about Russian disinformation. Because I'm like, how do you take these two incredibly damning stories? The FBI agent investigating Trump for Russian collusion is arrested for Russian collusion, right?
Right.
And what happened with everything revealed about Durham and Barr. I don't understand how people like Jim Jordan, they're just spinning it in a way. How is this not incredibly damning for Donald Trump? It's just more disinformation, right?
Well, see, this is how very early on the Trump campaign realized the only way to impugn the integrity of an actual investigation into their actual ties with Russia, of which there is an enormous quantity of evidence. Right? And then you had it turned over to Bill Barr, who personally told the entire country nothing happened. There was nothing there before the Mueller report even came out. And as you might recall, they were actually taking prisoners that very week. They had told a former channel that I worked for to pull all their critics. I was pulled off air for 3 weeks until the week after the Mueller report, to put it in the words of one of the MSNBC hosts, you may as well call this the Malcolm report. I've read all this. It's in plot to hack America.
Right.
This is where we got into really deep trouble. When the Attorney General of the United States is creating the narrative for the defense of a criminal, the Republicans are constantly running with that narrative, which is there was no Russian interference, no quantity of evidence until he is convicted of the obstruction of justice charges and everything else in the Mueller report will convince any of them. As far as they're concerned, it is just propaganda that the liberals came up with, and they will defend Russia and Trump to the hilt.
Yeah.
Because they know that all of this, the Trump love with Putin, all right, takes each and every one of them down. And they themselves believe it. I think they all really do love Russia's type of dictatorship over America.
Yeah, over democracy. I mean, it just,
of course.
You put real skin in the game, including right up until now, with the helping Ukraine and democracy. And you got to, turn on your TV and hear these blowhards on the floor of the House, ranting about that we should cut off aid to Ukraine.
Yeah, drunk monkeys with machine guns. That's what I call them, right?
Yeah.
My Substack, that article, read about it, drunk monkeys with machine guns. That's where we are in the House of Representatives. And it's just even more amazing to watch Kevin McCarthy every day go up there and have to back crazy people with the crazy promises he made so that he could be Speaker of the House, right? Including, George, whatever his name is this week, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a fascinating study in trying to move herself to the quote-unquote middle. This is a woman who is a 9/11 truther and QAnon conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
It's just this is the crazy caucus.
Yeah.
And there's not much we're going to be able to do about it until someone in Hakeem Jeffries' office convinces 4 moderate Republicans to vote to change affiliation to independent and caucus with the Democrats and flip the House back over.
Yeah, or if we get some, insurrectionists arrested, George Santos
enough of them
has
go
to resign.
To jail.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're going to find George Santos was in the Capitol.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, my God.
As Kiki,
but,
or whatever the name of.
Not to be
Katara Rabichet.
Kiki.
Katara. Get your drag queen straight,
Katara
Malcolm.
Rabichet.
I like that part of him. It's the only part that I think is authentic.
It's the only
He's
interesting
living his
part of
best
him.
life,
Yes.
and now he's drag queening as a straight Republican, pathological liar, which puts him in fine with the party.
By the way, of course, as an intelligence expert, you knew that the Bob Woodward Twitter account was Parody immediately.
Oh, but it doesn't have to be really.
That's what I said. Does it have to be? You said
it was real.
This one you retweeted. I'm not surprised that President Trump is upset with me. I'd be angry too if my greatest accomplishment as president was getting played like one of Tiger Woods' ball washers by a foreign dictator who looks like an Asian Pillsbury Doughboy.
I wish, I thought the one about the diaper. Do you have that one?
Yes.
I thought that
the
one
scent
about the
guard on his Depends is not
his
sufficient.
scent barrier was. I thought for one hot second, oh my God, Bob Woodward's finally reached his limit, and that's a real Bob Woodward tweet, which in fact would not have been a mean-spirited tweet. It would have just been stating a journalistic fact. And then I saw in the corner that it was parody. And I just wish to God that it was real. Bob Woodward owes America to let us know those Depends are slipping.
One thing that was real that you were excited about is a PetSmart manager in Arizona kicked Kerry Lake supporter out of their store after he asked if they were pedophiles, called their pride flag a flag of Satan, and said the cashier's mask is destroying America. And you said Rambro got kicked out of a PetSmart. A PetSmart.
A bit smart. Why are we talking about this? This should be on Frangela's Idiot of the Week.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's like, I'm going in to check on their gay pride flags over at PetSmart. Maybe there's some gay poodles or something. And it's like,
All poodles are
really?
gay.
I just rescued my two new Bonnie and Clyde, my two new rescues through a PetSmart, and my girlfriend and I ran in going, "Mommy and Mommy are here." And we were like, "Oh, maybe we should shut up. It's a red county."
Yeah, you'll invite guys out of the mall who will come in and start shouting at you, at the cashier who's just trying to count pennies.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like, that is literally going to replace the Arby's analogy now.
Malcolm,
Sir,
I gotta say,
Sir, this is an Arby's.
not to be a big, sir, this is an Arby's.
Sir, this is a PetSmart.
Turtles are on the second aisle.
Not to be a big Malcolm Nance suck up, but if I am, I am. That's I proudly wear that flag. But you got to honestly, the plot to hack America and then the plot to hack democracy. They're so well named, and not just well written. But when you talk about what Russia did to America in 2016, and then enlarge it to attacking democracy around the world, including in Ukraine, it is just such a right up through your new one. They want to kill Americans. About the coup, which is, as you always say, ongoing. It is such an important. They're such important markers of our times. Your books, and I have to say, I don't know what your take is on the McGonigal news and the Durham investigation news. Do you think there'll be more shoes to drop, or there will be some accountability from everything that you've written about?
Well, there will have to be on the McGonigal one.
Yeah.
Because not only is he exposed, he's criminally exposed now. He could go to prison for the crimes that he's committed, which is working with agents of foreign powers. That is FBI talk for spies.
Yeah.
And so if they wanted to be really aggressive and make their point with, people in the National Counterintelligence Division, they could charge him with the Espionage Act.
Yeah.
And then turn to him and go, is there anything you'd like to say to us about the rest of this conspiracy? Was he spoken to by Donald Trump? Did they deliberately get rid of Peter Strzok in order to, on his say-so? Peter Strzok was the top spy hunter in America, and someone turned over his personal information about a woman in the Department of Justice and got him pulled off of investigating Donald Trump's ties to Russia.
Yeah.
Did this man do that? Was he involved in a broad conspiracy against the United States? If I was an FBI officer, and I really can't wait till you speak to Frank Figluzzi, I would really want to know, are we willing to burn him for the honor of the FBI? As far as I'm concerned, he's pretty much up there with Aldrich Ames, right? Which was the FBI guy who worked for Moscow as an actual spy.
That's the question. Will he flip? And, are there more shoes to drop here?
Let's flip him and see what happens.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.